One morning this week, as I was doing my meditation, I was sitting on my meditation cushion in my little corner of my room, and that song kept coming to me, singing itself through me in a way, The words come to me, and I think that happens for me quite often, songs, because music is so important to me in my life, and songs are messengers for me sometimes. They come up for me, and I know for some of you that's probably true as well. But this song came up in my mind. It was actually singing itself from my heart, because I know the song so well. I've sung that song so many times over the past 20 plus years, and so I know it, and it has great meaning for me. But this week, as it came up for me, it touched me in a way, a deeper way than it ever has before. And the line that says, "I'm only here for God." I'm only here for God. Really resonated for me in a way that I don't think it ever has before. And as I sat there, I thought, I'm only here for God. Is that true? What does that mean for me? Do I believe that? And if I do, am I being it? Am I doing it? And how do I know I'm doing it? And all those questions come up. Am I really willing to make the statement and affirm for myself and make a commitment to say, I'm only here for God? What does that mean to me? Well, then, as I question that, then I have to question, well, what is God to me? That's a big question. And I'm always open to what does that mean? We have all these ideas about what is God. When we talk about God, I've talked about that many times. When I say the word God, what am I talking about? What do I mean? And for me, God is an experience. I can't define God. God is to me an experience that I have, the experience that we all get to have for ourselves, and we get to decide what that means for us. But for what I understand God to be is God is an energy that is the source of all creation. God imbues all that is. God is life. God is love. God is power. God is creation. God is all of those things. And God, that energy of life that imbues all that is living itself in the moment as the only reality. The only thing that is real is that energy of God. I like to say that God is real, R-E-A-L, as an acronym for radiant, abundant, eternal light. Radiant, eternal, abundant light. If I could spell, I would probably do better. R-E-A-L, radiant, eternal, abundant light. God is that radiant, eternal, abundant light. And that light expresses as you and me. And we get to experience it as love, and as peace, and as harmony, and as order, and wholeness, and all the ideas that we associate with that life. But God, shall I say this? God has meaning for us as we allow ourselves to experience it. And to be the ones who are consciously attuning ourselves to that awareness through meditation and prayer, all of the ways that we do that. Movement. There are many ways to attune our drumming. All sorts of ways to attune ourselves to that divine life. And what happens for us is that if we're not doing that, and when I ask myself, am I only here for God, and am I really committed to being only here for God, and when I reflect upon my life, sometimes the answer has to be, in all honesty, no. I mean, it's not my conscious decision all the time, although I want it to be. So what gets in the way of that? And what I recognize is that when something gets in the way of that, I'm giving the power that is that life within me over to something else. What I want us to understand is that there is no other power. There is no other power, and there is nothing in our experience that has power. Right? There is nothing out here that has power. But we infuse it with our power. And we get into what we call fear. Now, some of you have heard the acronym for fear. Let me make sure I can spell it right. F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. Right? False evidence appearing real. And so what we do is we look out into the world, we look at our own lives, we look at our checkbook, we look at our bank balance, we look at our work, we look at some of our relationships, we may even look at our bodies, and we see something is wrong. And we give it power. We look at the evidence, right? But the evidence does not tell us the truth quite often. The evidence is false. But we give it our power by focusing on it. So what I want to say, and I think it's so important for us to really get, is that my bank balance has no power. I give it the power, any power it has. Whatever is going on in my body has no power. The only power is the life, the abundant life, the radiant, eternal, abundant life that God is living itself as this body. That is the only power. But we give our power to so many different things, and we get into this feeling we call fear. So what do we do about that? We have to take back the power. We have to release the power that we have given to this thing out here. This thing out here in the world, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. But we have to recognize that we are giving it power and make a conscious choice to release the power that we're giving it. I release and I let go. That's what we practice in unity when we talk about denial. We're not talking about psychological denial. We're not talking about saying, well, I know that I don't have the money in my checking account. Well, I'm going to deny that that's the truth. Well, that's a fact. It's a fact. But it's not the truth. The evidence, we are giving power to the evidence, not to the cause. We have to take back the power that we're giving to the evidence. I may have a diagnosis of illness in my body. Well, there may be an illness in my body, but I am not going to give that illness power. I am going to reclaim the power, turn that power back to the cause, the God energy, the life that is the only truth of me. Release it. Let it go. Set it free and reclaim the power and let that spirit of life, the Spirit of God within you that is the radiant life, have its life. The biggest fear that I get into, and you might relate to this, is the belief that I have to do it. That creates a whole lot of struggle and strife in my life. I don't know about you. But that's the biggest lie that I tell myself, is that I have to do it. Well, what I'm recognizing is that, and let me say this, and you can take it and ruminate on it this week, there is no I that can do it. There is no I that can do it. As Jesus said, it is not I that does the work. It is not I that says the words. It is that Spirit of life within me, expressing as me, that does the work. And so as Emmett Fox said, turn it over to the Spirit within you. Cast it upon that Spirit, whatever it is. Whatever it is that you think you have to do. And this may sound blasphemous or sacrilegious coming from a New Thought minister, but you cannot do it. I don't care. Okay. I don't care. All right, I'm coming down here. All right, let me take a breath. New Thought, unity, is founded on the principle of mental healing, the power of the mind. What I want to say to you is that the only power that the mind has is to align you with the Spirit of God that is the only life within you. That is the power of your mind. Do not get caught up in the idea of mental power. Don't get caught up in the idea that if I think it enough, I'm going to create it. Or if I feel it enough, I'm going to create it. That's where New Thought falls short sometimes. We focus on the power of mind. Let me say this again. The only power of mind is the power to align you with the only power that is, and that is the Spirit, the life of God that is expressing as you. So if you want to use your mind to know that. Use your mind to align with the Spirit of God that is you. And allow that Spirit to have its life in you, through you, as you. Make sense? And let go of the idea that I have to do it. Does anybody else allow that to stress them out as much as I do? Because as the song says, I let Spirit run my life. That's a powerful statement, isn't it? I let Spirit run my life. Whew. Sometimes that's like, oh, did I really say that? Did I actually put that out there and say, I'm going to let Spirit run my life? What if I don't like what Spirit does in my life? Oh. Well, there again, it goes back to that idea in the song, faith. With my faith, I see the light. And so we get to activate that power of faith. Again, it is not a power of the mind. It is a power of Spirit that shines through us, that activates through us. And so we activate our power of faith and allow our minds to only receive reflections of the light, even through what might appear to be the darkness. What might appear in our life experience to be something that we wouldn't necessarily choose for our life. Sometimes that's loss, it's grief, it's loss in many different ways. It can be a loss of a loved one, it can be a loss of a job, it can be a loss of a relationship, it can be loss of any kind that is painful. And that's why it's so important for us to recognize that there is that Spirit of life, that radiant, eternal, abundant life that is living itself in and through everything. And we allow that Spirit, through the power of our faith, to see the light even through the darkest times in our lives. And I know for some of you, that's your experience now. But again, no matter what is going on in your life, I encourage you to turn it over. Recognize truly that there is only that one power and one presence. And it is intelligent. It is loving. It is compassionate. And I know when we're going through hard times, sometimes it's hard to see that. Cast your cares upon the Spirit. Growing up in the Bible church, it was like, cast your cares upon Jesus. Well, what does Jesus represent to us? The I am, the Christ within us. The true light and the true life that enlightens everyone. So it is that light and that life that is our truth. And so I believe in when we are able to do that. And let me just say this too. I recognize that for me, it's a moment by moment choice. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-time thing for me to stand up in here and say, you know, I am only here for God by God, and that's what I'm going to live. No. It's a moment by moment choice. Because believe me, in my own life, I recognize every day, multiple times every day, how what I want to release, I take back. I'm sure none of you ever experienced that. I let it go and I take it back, right? Because I know how to do it better than you do. I have experience with this. I've done this before, right? So, again, it's a moment by moment when you recognize that you're getting into stress, you're getting into strife. It's time to stop. Stop. Take a breath. Go within. Connect with the Spirit of life, that radiant, eternal, abundant life that is living itself as you. The only thing that is real. And believe me, as you open, again, it's like open my heart. My heart is open wide. Open your heart to receive the wisdom that is there. Open your heart to receive the guidance. Open your heart to receive the comfort, the peace that is there. My heart is open wide, as the song says, to allow that life to flow through. And I do trust. Well, let me just say this. I do my best to practice faith and trust and rely upon that inner guidance to move me. Now, sometimes I think I have to be doing something all the time. You know, sometimes it's okay to stop. I like that saying that says, don't just do something, stand there. Right? It may not be time. It may be time to just stop and listen and wait. And so I just encourage us as we move forward this week, this month, this year, to remember those words. I release, I let go. I know when I take it back, I just have to release and let it go again. I let Spirit run my life. My heart is open wide. I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. I am only here for God.